Chapter 6. New York. Deja vu. There's always a slight difference each new time I arrive here, but the outline is always the same. First, it was Mia with a broken luggage bag, approaching a stranger with a sign that read her name. The second time, it was with luggage that actually worked, approaching a man whose face was familiar to me now. The third time, is with about 4 luggages from a private terminal, as I approach a man I already expected to be here. Miss Fiore, Ricardo tipped his imaginary cap to me. I had a poor attendant helping me roll all my bags down to the car. Ricardo quickly jogged over and took mine away from me, as him and the man loaded them into the blacked-out SUV. No Elio, huh? I bothered asking. Ricardo was already coming around the car to open my door, though I told him it was not necessary. Well, actually, he was going to come himself this time, but I figured why break tradition? He admitted. It made me laugh. I didn't know you'd be so sentimental about driving me. Last I remember you didn't like it very much, I teased him. It's been a long time, Mia, he pointed out the year I've been away. A very prominent fact we all know. I've kept up with Ricardo in some ways. Mostly that he's my friend on social media, and he'll like my pictures. We chatted a few times over the past year just asking how the other person is. It has. My voice faded into the background of him turning the engine on, pulling away from the curb. I couldn't find your exact flight, so I thought I missed you, to be honest. I'm glad you showed up when you did, he admitted. I didn't end up flying Air France, I confessed to him. Oh? Which airline? He asked me. I bit the side of my cheek knowing my answer would very much surprise him. I was actually in a private jet, with, Carl, I told him. Who's Carl? It didn't click for him. Of course I posted Carl on my social media plenty of times before, but if you aren't in the fashion industry, or keep up with celebrities, I guess the name isn't as well known to you. I feel like everyone knows that man's face though. Karl Lagerfeld, I clarified. Shit, I heard him curse to himself. This is real, huh? You've really become something, the fact seemed to sink in for him. Define something, I laughed. You know what I mean, he waved me off, turning into New York traffic. You're kind of famous now, he clarified. I wouldn't say that. Ricardo shifted his dark eyes over to me and he gave me the BS face. I saw the articles, he called me out. What articles? Oh, where they asked if I was Carl's new muse. I don't want to be famous for that. I want a successful fashion career, I pointed out the difference. It'll all come with being known. Girls will want to wear what Mia Fiore is wearing, so if you're wearing your own clothes then they'll want to wear it too, he reminded me. It made me smile. I couldn't even hide it. That's the dream, I nodded to his thought. How many followers do you have on that Instagram page of yours? You used to have like 10K, didn't you? I nodded yes and pulled my phone to check the exact number now. It changes every day as people start to learn about me. They want to be my friend because they want to see my life. Now that it isn't just posting outfits, but posting runway shows, celebrities I've seen, and my outfits that were a part of the Chanel collection. I have 500K right now. It's grown a lot within the past few months, I told him. You'll be at 1 million in no time, he assured me. You think so? That'd be wild, I rubbed my hands together in excitement. As we started passing buildings I'm familiar with, a thought crossed my mind. So, Ricardo, how is everyone? I asked him. I didn't want to ask straight up, but I hoped he knew what I meant. I had no access to Dom before, but right now, maybe I'll learn something. I'm not even sure what I want to know. I just want to know anything beyond the radio silence. Ricardo's dark eyes bounced between me and the road again. Good, same old shit, was all he gave me. I looked out the window trying to think of how to word this. Nothing's changed within the last year? I arched a brow at him to see if I could press an answer out of him. Nothing particular comes to mind. He gripped the wheel and did a double take to see how I reacted to his vagueness. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring up the man's name specifically, so I just said, I see. I didn't like the tension in the car after that. Maybe it was a figment of my imagination, but I felt strange so I randomly blurted, you should let me give you a fitting, Ricardo. I can make you a tailored suit, I think it'd look nice. The man chuckled at me. A Mia creation? He teased me. Well, no, I wouldn't make the suit, I'd just tailor the one you already have. He looked down at himself. "What's wrong with my suit?" he asked. I pressed my lips together, not wanting to be rude. "I have a belly. Nothing fits just right," he called it out. "The man's build doesn't matter if the suit fits his frame well," I assured him. "All right then, let's do it," he suddenly agreed. It made me excited. "I'm not gonna lie, I've been wanting to do this since I met you," I smiled. Now he was the one to press his lips together. "So you've been judging my appearance for the past year?" I couldn't tell if he was kidding or not. My eyes went wide and I shook my hands. No. That's not what I meant at all. "You're fine." When he chuckled, I knew he'd been teasing me. The teasing quieted as we got closer and closer to the Hudson Yards. The same familiar skyscrapers that cause the déjà vu I feel each time I go through JFK Airport to meet Ricardo in waiting. This luxury secure apartment building that I only called home for a short while before leaving it. I guess this is home again, but then why's this pit in my stomach forming deeper and deeper the closer I'm getting to it? Maybe because at the top of that high tower is a man who rules the city below it. I've seen him standing in front of his panoramic window staring down at the view with his broad shoulders and wide stance. Towering over all of us. "Welcome home," Mia Ricardo's voice was somewhere in the background of that image I played in my head. The silhouette of a tall figure standing behind tinted glass, so that the image is, of course, a shade darker. After poor Ricardo and the doorman made 2 trips, between the car and upstairs to the apartment, they finally carried all my bags in. I offered to help, but beyond my carry-on bag they wouldn't let me. Mr. Fiore wouldn't like it, the doorman had told me. I guess that means he's home. I followed behind the 2 men and entered. I was here about 6 months ago for Christmas, so it hasn't been as long as I myself have been living overseas. Before the doorman could leave, I flagged him down and dug into my bag to find some money to tip the man. He told me it wasn't necessary, but I refused to let him drag 2 heavy large bags and not at least get a few bucks for it. Before I could find any American dollars, I heard a deep voice behind me. "Here, George." I heard the clacking of Elio's expensive shoes as he crossed the living room floor. He handed the man some rolled-up bills. George bowed his head and thanked him before leaving quietly. "Here." Elio also brought his hand out with the money between 2 fingers for Ricardo to grab. "Oh, that's all right, boss." Ricardo was hesitant to take it. Elio waved it to emphasize his point of giving him the cash, so Ricardo stepped forward and did the same as the doorman had. "Am I needed for anything else, sir?" I always forget how formal people act with my brother. It's strange to me. "You're dismissed," he said so plainly. "Thanks, Ricardo," I called after him as he grabbed for the door. Then I turned to Elio. His features relaxed on his face, and working Elio turned into my brother Elio. "Hey, Littles." He held an arm out for me to give him a side hug. "Welcome back. I had the maid clean your room, so the sheets are fresh and there's no dust or anything," he assured me. I hugged him tight, but released him quickly. He isn't the most affectionate person, but he does have a soft spot for me. "You're looking around the place like you forgot what it looked like. Does it feel weird to be back for good?" he asked me, taking my carry-on bag out of my hand. He walked it over to the entry of my bedroom where the men had lined up my luggages. "Christ, how much shit did you have?" he chuckled. "It does feel a bit weird to know this isn't a visit, but a permanent arrangement again. I kind of got used to France. I'm certainly still on their clock because I'm exhausted," I chuckled. "It's only 8:30 at night and I'm yawning." When Elio still arched his brow at my luggage, I smiled sheepishly at him. "A few things accumulated over time. Your Christmas presents didn't help any. I left here with a whole new bag that time. Remember?" I blamed him, but a good suitcase full of things was actually due to Dom and all his gifts. The last of it was the shopping spree I had on the same day he walked out on me. I don't like to think about it. I certainly wouldn't tell Elio where it all came from. "You can turn in early if you'd like, but I do have some food waiting in the dining room. I wasn't sure if you'd be fed on the plane," so he trailed off. I actually did have food on the plane because the thing was so damn fancy, but I could eat again. I waved for him to walk in there to show me what he got. It was light finger food, which was perfect for now. My brother and I sat down and started talking a little bit about the same stuff he always asks me. "What's new?" is usually where he starts. "Things seem to be really picking up for you. I won't lie, I didn't expect all this so soon for you. Are you handling it well?" he asked me. "Meaning?" He shrugged, meaning, you can get lost in the fast life. I snorted a laugh. Elio, I'm not out partying with celebrities. I'm working alongside an 80-year-old man, who is also very straight-laced by the way. All that will come with the territory though. Just be careful. I'm happy to see your name out there, but the more attention you get the more people know what you're up to. I know you worked hard to cut all those people out of your past, but things have changed, he reminded me. He's mainly talking about my family, more specifically my father. I will say, I didn't intend on ever modeling, but after meeting Carl he had a vision with my image involved. It's fun side work, and it gives me opportunities to work with other fashion houses I admire. Like I have a shoot for Dior coming up and I'm very excited about it, but I've also made it clear to Carl that I want to design clothing. He knows I want to make a name for myself outside of being his muse. He's all for it, so I feel like I'm in a good place. I'm still so young, so collaborating with someone so influential will be of great use for me. I'm learning so much. Elio looked pleased with everything I was telling him. He's always supported my career choices and the dreams attached to them. My brother sat across the table from me in a relaxed version of his suit. He probably only recently came from work, whatever that entails. He looks the same, but things around me feel different. Maybe it's all in my head, but I feel as though I'm taking things in for the very first time. Surreal almost, though I don't know why. You never give me updates on your life, I decided to call him out after a moment of quiet eating. There aren't events occurring the way things are happening for you. It's work, and we don't talk about work, he reminded me. Well, I hope you're at least being safe, was all I thought to comment on that. His line of work frightens me. Everything's fine on my end, Littles, don't worry, he waved me off. I studied his expression, but he's a stone wall just like his best friend. I wish I could ask about him, but I can't do that. Not with Elio. I don't know what Elio even knows about Dom's last visit to me, but Dom had said things were handled when I asked if Elio knew he was there pursuing me. If Elio knows anything at all, he's never let on that he does. He's probably happy that we no longer have any line of communication between us, if he knows that. For a second Elio looked contemplative. What is it? I knew the expression and what it meant. He was weighing the pros and cons about telling me something. Whatever it is, I would rather he tells me. Nothing, he grabbed his drink and took a sip. I don't believe you, I frowned. It's nothing, Mia, I was just making a mental note for work. Again I studied him, but it's of no use. I just nodded and let it go, as I always seem to do when it comes to him. To dwell is to strain what Elio and I have. If I think too much about his line of work, or his secrets, or anything else that makes him someone other than who I thought he was, then a sour taste can form at the back of my mouth. So I don't think, I just look at Elio and see my protective brother. That's all I want to see. Chapter 7. Elio and I had been hanging out on the sofa after having eaten together. I wasn't expecting company tonight, so when there was a loud banging on the door it made me jump out of my skin. I quickly looked at my brother to see if he was reacting the same way. When he reached behind him like he was ready to grab something off his waist, I got nervous that trouble was here. Trouble was definitely here, just not the kind I feared. When Elio swung the door open, a high-pitched scream echoed through the apartment. My head whipped in its direction and barreling towards me was my best friend, Sofia DeLuca, looking as glamorous as ever. Ah! I hopped up and met her halfway. I could hear Elio grumbling at our loud reunion, but my focus came back to Sofia. Oh my god, I missed you. Look at this Chanel outfit, are you kidding? I'm obsessed, she took in my wide pant leg jeans and fluffed white heels. I had the dangling Chanel earrings and tape-recorded bag. This is so cute, I tugged on her fabulous blouse. Isn't it? I went shopping yesterday, she grinned. Of course you did, I chuckled. We often grab hands when we speak. I have no idea why, but it's a habit at this point. I walked her out of the entry and over to the living room where my brother went back to his spot on the other end of the sofa. He kept my decorum while I was gone. The candles in front of the cream sofa and the vase where I kept the pink flowers, though there aren't any right now. These are replacements from the ones he and Dom broke the day they fist-fought in the apartment. Elio told me to just buy fake flowers or I'll kill every peony in America, but it just isn't the same. Let's go to your room. I want to gossip, she asked me before I could fully reach the seat. She glanced over her shoulder and flipped her blonde hair over it. No offense, Elio, we love you and all, she teased him. He just rolled his eyes and told us he wasn't getting up, so if we wanted privacy we were welcome to go to the room, like Sophia suggested. I'd already spent the last few hours with my brother, so I didn't feel as bad about leaving him to spend a little private time with my best friend. I haven't lived with her for 6 months. 6 months with her, and 6 months without her, aside from the occasional visit. I always wondered if Dom was privy to that information whenever she'd come to France. He had made it pretty clear he didn't want to pay for her to live there, but he doesn't keep tabs on his little sister very often. Okay, tell me everything, she started, bouncing onto my mattress and pulling me beside her. I talk to you like every day. You know everything, I laughed. Yeah, well, it's different in person. How's Carl? God, you've been living the coolest life. You're more interesting than me now, and I've had some adventurous girly, she winked, and I shook my head at her. I really miss this girl. Soph, I want to ask you something I've avoided for a long time, I trailed off hoping she understood without my having to spell it out. Sophia could have reported to me about her brother if she wanted to, but she told me it wasn't helpful to me. I knew she was right. Plus, she isn't always with her brother to even know herself. She only comes around when she wants something. Dom said it once and I believe him now. My brother, Sophia gave me a knowing look. I nodded yes. Sophia sighed and adjusted herself on the mattress. He's still a brooding asshole? What else is there to say, mon amour? The girl is blunt. I don't know, I don't even know what I'm looking to hear, I honestly sighed at myself. What he did was wrong. You aren't at fault here for how things ended. The man took a tantrum when he wanted to control your life for his own gain, and you didn't bend at his will. He's a control freak. If he cared he wouldn't have cut you off the way he has. I know it's harsh to say it so forwardly, but I know all these thoughts are resurfacing now that you're back. In Paris it wasn't as hard. Now you're a floor apart. I know that's bothering you. I just nodded to everything she said. Besides, isn't that hunk Julian here? A wicked smirk spread across her lips. When Sophia had come to visit me after she'd moved away she met Julian, and knows everything about him from our frequent phone calls. I'm up to date on her entire life, and she is with mine. He is here. He's mostly just someone I work with though. I didn't want to give him or anyone else the wrong idea. He's handsome and successful. You could have done worse, Sophia rolled her eyes at me. I do like Julian. He's a great guy. Is he the guy for me? Probably not. But then again, was Dom? Probably not. I brought my foot onto the bed and started to unbuckle the ankle strap of my white heels. Sophia ran a hand over the floof. You honestly are fabulous in every sense of the word. You aren't little Mia Fiore. You're a brand now. Carl's muse, and a designer of the Chanel Spring collection. You're powerful. I know my brother's presence is a strong one, but so is yours. You're gonna be fine, darling. I leaned over and hugged my best friend after my heels dropped to the floor beneath us. I missed you so much. You're a wicked hype woman when it comes to cheering on my ego, I teased her. What ego? If anything, you're too humble. You flew on a private jet, bitch. I still have the pictures to prove it. She slapped my arm like I did something wrong. I flinched, but laughed. I only brag to Sophia because I know she wants me to. She'd care to see me in a private jet and things like that. I guess she's right when she says I don't flaunt as much as I could. I've posted my accomplishments on my fashion page for sure, but bragging? Nay. When my phone buzzed I quickly glanced at it and saw Julian's name across the screen. Oh look, Mr. Handsome, Sophia lifted my phone off the bed and handed it to me. It was a text telling me to check my email for some loosely scheduled events with Carl. Carl's a bit spontaneous, so you can't always nail too many things down. If he had a plan but woke up to some entirely different idea, he wouldn't go asking for permission to do it. He'd just do it, and marketing and PR would scramble to catch up to the changes. Oh, open it. I want to see. Sophia scooted next to me to read my message. She's nosy sometimes, but I don't mind. When I opened the email, this was how it read. Introduction as formal muse and face of brand. Photo shoot for Dior. Permission to release photo shoot from France, beach etc. Permission to release more of the collection's looks by Mia. Vogue Paris wants to do an article about Carl and the rising star. Will be cover shoot. When Sophia read the last bit, she screamed the way she does when excited. I guess it's more of a squeal. Vogue wants to do an article? You'll be on the cover, Mia. This is insane. She shook me about 100 times as she spoke. I was actually in shock, so I remained quiet, processing. Wow, this is all really happening so suddenly. What does he mean by formally introduced? To whom? I knew I was waiting on permission to post a few things like the photography Carl worked on for his gallery. And this means I get to wear some of the items of clothing I designed. That'll be fun. Vogue Paris, why would they wait for us to leave to do this article? What the hell are they even gonna say about me? I'm not the only person Carl works with. I started to spiral. My best friend sucked her teeth and slapped my arm as she had earlier. It's what I needed to bring me back to my center. All of this is exciting news, and haven't you learned anything from Carl? He doesn't believe in stress, and neither should you. Flow the flow, like he does. She spoke the truth. Ride the wave is basically what you're saying. I leaned into my headboard and looked back down at the email. Ride it like a dick, babe, she crudely remarked. I groaned at her, which made her laugh. Looking past her, I took in the view of my room. I had a strange surreal moment in realizing that I wasn't living in that apartment in Paris anymore, and that this was really my bedroom again. Mushroom-colored walls, no old-style crown molding. I've lived in Paris longer than I've been living in New York, so I'm actually more used to that space than I am to being here. This bed felt somewhat foreign to me, which is strange for it being a place you call home. I didn't have a walk-in closet in Paris, so much of my clothes hung on racks lined against a back wall. Here I have my walk-in again, which is where I shoved all my suitcase for now. I need to wash and dry clean everything to rehang them in their rightful places, but it's my first night back. All that stuff will wait until tomorrow or the coming days. Then again, I don't seem to know when I have work or not. I'm being paid for some of this work, but some of it was just me saying yes because I wanted to have the experience. When Sophia's phone started ringing, she checked the caller ID and held a finger up for me to hold on. Sissy, she answered. I know Dom has 2 sisters, but I haven't met the older one. I know her name is Isabella just by the stories Sophia's told me, but that's about it. Sophia started talking with her, and as she did, I wandered to the bathroom to put on something comfortable. By the time I was out, Sophia was waiting patiently for me. Okay, I have the gossip you've been looking for, she announced. About? I paused midway out of the bathroom. You know what? She looked at me pointedly. Something in my gut sunk, and I gripped the clothes I was still holding a little bit tighter. I nodded and placed the clothes on the white upholstered bench I have right outside my closet. I took a breath and went to sit down and listen. That was my sister who called. She was inviting me out this weekend, because it's Gianna Rizzo's birthday. Do you know her? Probably not. She's a part of one of the crime families. She's spoiled, but anyways, it's her birthday and she's having something at Dom's club. Apparently he's been hanging out with her a little bit recently, aka fucking, so we're going to this party, and don't say no, she pointed a quick finger at me. My chest ached, but I pushed the feeling way, down deep inside myself. No, I don't know this girl. She's in the mob? I asked for clarification. Women aren't technically in the mob. She's the daughter of the head of the Rizzo crime family. I forget you don't know shit about the mob. Well, there are 5 families. My family's at the top, and the others serve under us, or rather Dom and my dad. Anyways, Gianna's hot or whatever, so she gets a lot of attention. There's a term called a mafia princess. It's just a spoiled daughter of a mobster who gets treated like a princess, obviously. I'm sure they say the same about me. Whatever. I don't like the girl, but Isabella is friends with her, Sophia began to ramble on. And you've known this girl a long time? Does she have a history with Dom? I had to ask. Sophia motioned with her hand so. Isabella and Gianna are the same age, 25, so they went to school together with Dom back in the day. 2 grades apart, but still they were in the same crowds for a while. Plus, the crime family's kids all know one another like some exclusive clique. Dom's never been one to settle down. He was handsome and all the girls wanted him. It's not a secret that he got around, but since he's known Gianna half his life, they've definitely screwed around more consistently than anyone else. I hated that her words burned my gut. So, they've had an on and off thing, is basically what you are saying. I wanted clarification. She nodded, which again lit this searing heat inside me, and not the good kind. Oh come on, don't give me that face. She's got nothing on you. Trust me. We're going to this birthday, and you're making yourself known, she told me. Known to who? Her? Or, is Dom going to be there? I swallowed. He should be, yeah. I'm sure Elio will be there too. Especially since it's being held at their club. Don't shy away, Mia. You have nothing to be shy about.